Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new 2025 Ford Explorer. This is the active trim level. Huge shout out to Mooresville Ford for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. So this Ford Explorer is finished off in carbonized gray metallic. MSRP is just over $43,000. Now this model is powered by the 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine. It's paired to the 10-speed automatic. It pumps out 300 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,500-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in just over 6 seconds. It has a top speed of 125 miles an hour and a fuel capacity of 18.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 20 miles per gallon in the city, 27 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 119.1 inches. Its overall length is 198.7. It has a width of 78.9, a height of 70 inches, and its ground clearance measures in just under 8 inches. So for the 25-year model, we do have some exterior styling elements that are different from the 24-year model. And we'll start up front where this has a new grille along with the new front fascia and a different design for the headlight housings. You'll notice that the Ford logo is still front and center, and this model has a lot of chrome. So there's those accents that run throughout it, as well as having plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine. And then everything is LED for these housings, for the headlights, high beams, DRLs, and turn signals. There's some really nice angular lines just underneath that on both sides, along with the large inlets for these trim accents here to provide some better airflow. There's also a sensor in the lower section, more cutouts, and then a brushed accent for that lower section. And then really nice bulges running down the hood, still giving it that Explorer design. But I like the subtle updates for the front end. Now, as we work our way to the side, the Active is the base model. So we do have more of a basic wheel for this particular model, but I think it looks really nice. We don't have too many changes for the side. There's the plastic fender flares for front and rear. It goes along with the lower section of the bumper as well as the lower side skirt there, where Explorer is also stamped down below. There's a chrome accent in that lower section as well. Plastic for the mirror caps there. No sunroof up top, but there's the roof racks that are installed, finished off in black to match all the window trim. And then there's really nice crisp lines that run down the side. And then in back, this has the body colored spoiler along with the third brake light. Wiper blade is in the lower section. Explorer is also spelled out in that gloss black accent that runs between the new taillight design, where everything is LED as you would expect. There's the backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then with the towing package, this is capable of towing 5,000 pounds. And then as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or the button just underneath the R there, and the power liftgate will open up, where the Explorer is a 3-row SUV. So I currently have one up and one down, so that way you can get a feel for the amount of space. There's a lot of cargo with the third row up, so you can fit in a lot of items. There's also storage underneath the floor, so you can place additional items. And then you can also remove those side cubbies too. If you need a little bit more space, you can remove all of that as needed. Now there's also a power outlet on that passenger side. And then the third row folds down and up manually. So if I just pull on this tab, you can get the headrest to fold down. And then from there, you can quickly put the seat down. Just pull on this tab to get it back up. Very quick process to do. So I like that it's not automatic. It makes it much easier and more convenient. Now, as you can tell with it down, you have a lot more space, and then you can fold down all of the seats to get that much more interior cargo. So very versatile for its size. And then up top, you can close that liftgate, or you can also lock the vehicle at the same time. Now, as we work our way to the back seating area, for this base model, it has a nice interior. You'll notice the trim accents that surround the chrome for the release handle. There's also some leather and stitching, a lot of storage space in the lower section, and even a little bit where this armrest and grab handle is. And then this also has a nice set of seats that are finished off in cloth. And in order to gain access to the third row, just grab on this lever here, and you can actually slide the seat forward. So the second row can move forwards and backwards to accommodate for anybody you have in this third row. Now at 5'10", it's not all that bad. Like I said, you can slide these seats forward if I need a little bit more leg room, but I can fit my feet underneath the seat there. And my headroom, I have about a ½ inch or so, if that. So honestly, it's not bad. You sit a little low, so my knees are a little high up, but I could be back here and be comfortable. We have a cup holder, a little bit of storage on one side, and then some auxiliaries and more space on the other side there. So honestly, not bad for its size. It looks small from the outside, but pretty doable to have two people in the back. And then you can quickly get that seat back into position and then slide it forwards and backwards from here, again, depending on what you need. Now in the second row, I have plenty of room down below. There's also storage pockets. Explorer is stamped just above your climate adjustments. There's auxiliaries down below and even two cup holders that will fold out. And then at my height, I have 2 or 3 inches of headroom, and then you can also recline these seats slightly just to get a little bit more comfortable. And then right in the middle, there's the armrest with 2 more cup holders. So very nice to see 4 in the back. You can also fold down this middle seat individually. So if you want maybe a higher armrest, maybe a leg rest for your third row passengers, you can easily do that, which is nice. And then tons of visibility, a lot of glass to provide a lot of light for this. Now as we work our way to the front, there's lock and unlock along with the side mirror adjustments, all of the window controls, and then more storage in that lower section. And then there's the power operating front seats with that same design to them. And it's a pretty low SUV, so it's easy to enter. We're greeted with the leather steering wheel with some more of the stitching there. But let's start this up and we can take a look at the all new gauge cluster and infotainment system. So for the gauge cluster, you'll currently see RPM on the left side, miles per hour is on the right there. And then in order to go through some more of that information, we'll use controls over on this right side. So if I push on menu, you can get into my view. There's also trip information. You have status and some other information that you can go through as needed, even some off-roading information. There's vehicle maintenance along with audio and phone, and then you can even change your miles per hour to kilometers per hour. So a little bit of info that you can go through. This is my view where you can customize all of this. So you can choose what you would like to see for all of these shortcuts here by going into that. So pretty quick to go through all of that. There's also Bluetooth controls on the right side, and then the left side you have volume as well as your cruise control settings. There's distance pacing and your lane keeping assist. And then to the left, there's all the headlight adjustments along with a dimmer switch and the liftgate release. Really cool trim accents underneath that one air vent. And then for the all new infotainment system, if we push on home, you'll have the split view. So you have navigation, music, and phone. You can also push on the car icon, get into your hill descent control. You have valet mode, vehicle status, and settings that you can get into. So you can go through all of this just depending on how you'd like to set it up. And then there's a ton of icons that you can also get into as well. This also has Google now for the maps and everything. So it's no longer the sync system from FOURR. So they've incorporated Google into this system. You'll notice in the lower section, everything has been fixed. So this is how you can get into your climates as well as your temperature. There's the heated seat controls, where you'd like the air to go, and a few others that are always going to stay put there. There's 2 air vents underneath that. You have volume and power for your audio. There's the engine start stop. There's also a parking sensor, so you can turn those on and off. There's your hazards, a shortcut to the camera system. So when you push on that icon, you can pull that up for your rear view camera. There's traction control and your brake hold. A lot of storage space right here where you can place some items as needed. And then underneath that, just push on this top, this whole lid will open up, exposing some more hidden storage as well as auxiliaries located in the back. Now there's 2 cup holders on the right side. And then with the rotary dial, this is how you can put it into all of the gears. So you have your backup camera, of course, there's drive, and even a low range gear as well. The e-brake is behind that. And then there's this rotary dial for the different driving modes. So you'll notice for the gauge cluster here, there's some graphics depending on the driving mode that you are in. You can even take this off-road with those settings. There's snow. There's also the normal setting along with eco, and then sport mode. And the last one is the trailer, tow, and haul. Pretty neat to see those graphics as well. So just depending on what driving you're doing for the day, you can quickly adjust that. There's a little bit of storage behind that, as well as an auxiliary and more storage in the center there. Glove box also has plenty of space. You'll notice Explorer in that trim accent too, which is a really nice touch. And then up top, there's the rear view mirror, all of the dome lights, and a sunglass holder as well. And then here's a look at visibility from the driver's seat. It's a long vehicle, but those windows are pretty large in the back. So you can even see a little bit over that left shoulder as well. As we set off now behind the wheel for the Ford Explorer, we haven't reviewed one in several years. There hasn't been too many changes or updates for the Explorer to go and film it. For the 25-year model now, though, we do have some new information, as you've already seen. And funny enough, the very first vehicle I ever learned how to drive in was a 1995 Ford Explorer. It has come a long way since then, now that we are in the 25-year model. With this infotainment system as well, this is basically the biggest change for the 25-year model. It's very identical to the new screen in the new Mustang. If you've been able to see that, we've been able to have a few of those to review, where it has almost that BMW style to it with that lower section there that is fixed. But I like it. I think it's a good size. We have some newer software. I'm not sure if the sync system was getting old or they just wanted to change it up or something like that. I've never owned a Ford, so I don't know if there were any issues with it, but we have a really nice system here and a pretty nice driving SUV. Now, what's also really neat about this Explorer is that we have 3 rows. I wouldn't really consider this a full-size 3-row SUV. It has the space for it, but when you look at its sizing and its footprint, you know, it's nowhere near Cadillac Escalade or a Tahoe that's just passing us there. It's definitely a lot smaller, but Ford did a really good job with the spacing, as you saw earlier with me in the back, and the cargo space. So if you don't want a large SUV, this is a really good option to go with if you need that 3rd row. And then being the base model, we have a lot more options for the 3 other trim levels that are above this. So just depending on your budget. But for a brand new 3-row SUV that has the capabilities of towing, just over 40 grand is not all that bad in today's world, where a lot of vehicles are pushing $60,000, $70,000 for a 3-row SUV. This is really nice. And then there are also 2 different engine options. So we do have the base engine option here. You can go with a 3-liter EcoBoost as well. So let's give it a little bit of gas. We'll put it into sport mode. Not bad. I'm sure some of that noise might be piped in through the speakers. I can't tell, but it sounded pretty good for that. And the power seemed adequate for that acceleration. So we have a good bit of horsepower for this model. If you are going to be towing, maybe you're doing some more, you're hauling some items in the back, cargo, things like that, you might want to go with the other engine option, but we have a pretty fuel efficient and capable engine for this. And while we're still in sport mode, we'll give it another acceleration. I would say that is very healthy for this engine. With a mild acceleration getting up to speed, it's definitely plenty of power. So I have no issues with the power getting on the highway, merging, things like that. Definitely plentiful for this new Explorer. As far as taking turns goes, seems pretty good for, you know, being an SUV. Nothing that's performance oriented by any means, but it took that turn at a normal rate of speed very well. And this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the all-new Ford Explorer. Hopefully you can tell it's a little bit different than the front fascia on the older Explorer there. And it's a nice place to be, especially with all these materials here and the options of going with a higher trim level. But it's been very fun to drive. An Explorer has always been something that I've been a fan of, just because it was the first vehicle that I ever learned how to drive in. And so I'm a fan. I like this. If I needed a 3-row SUV, this is a good option to go with for the price. And you have plenty of space. So this would make for a great daily driver, just with the usability, the practicality, and the affordability. You could drive this every single day and you really have everything that you need. Well, that's going to wrap it up for the 2025 Ford Explorer. Once again, huge shout out to Mooresville Ford for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.